It's the Underpowered Hour. On this week's show, RC Land Rovers workshop updates, a questionably expensive Series IIA auction. Then we're joined by Abigail Hall and Nick Dimbleby to talk all about recreating iconic G4 Challenge photographs. And now, here's the show. Welcome to the Underpowered Hour. I'm Steve Barris, mild-mannered television executive by day and Land Rover collector by night. You can find out more about our cars and what we're working on at thebarriscollection.com or follow us on Instagram at thebarriscollection. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Ike Goss.
Thank you to everyone joining us today. I'm the physical key to Steven's remote entry. I am the unsecured ignition of podcasting. Ike Goss. I own and operate Pangolin 4x4 in Springfield, Oregon, where we live and breathe Land Rovers. Check us out online on Facebook, Instagram at Pangolin 4x4. Let's get started.
All right, Ike. Well, in the news sort of this week, on the internet, I guess this week, we've come across two, not just one, but two different remote-controlled Land Rovers. And I don't mean that video where Jerry McGovern drives the Discovery 5 with his iPhone, but a miniature, remote-controlled Series Land Rover. Both a Series IIA and a Series 3, depending on what you want, and different scales.
Short wheelbase, long wheelbase, pickup, hardtop, a lot of different options here. And both, I don't think you can really go wrong.
No, I don't think so either. The first one is from a company called FMS RC. They've got a wee RC Land Rover.
1/12 scale.
Yeah, 1/12 scale. Yeah, it's a little bit wee-er.
About a foot long.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful Land Rover Series 2. And it's really cool. I mean, like, you can get all kinds of little doodabbies for it. It comes in 3 different colors. Yeah. And they're all like original Land Rover colors. They look fairly accurately originally Land Rover colored, and got like a tiny little chassis and tiny little differentials.
It has a metal chassis. It has leaf springs. It has a working suspension, has a transfer case. It's 4-wheel drive. It has working turn signals. It comes with a hardtop and a pickup cab.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's got upholstered seats. The steering wheel turns when the wheels
turn.
Upholstered,
little soft, tiny little seats.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
So 1/12 scale, what scale is that so far as action figures are concerned? Is that like a tiny little G.I. Joe, or like?
I never played with dolls, so I couldn't say.
I want to know what kind of doll I need to get to put it in there.
I'm sure in your vast collection of dolls you have something that will work.
Yeah. I'll just go through until I find something that
works. I'm sure it'll work. Yeah. You know, I think this is a cool one. This one is not a cheap model. This is, but it's more of a model than like a big tired giant RC car.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
somewhere in between.
Yeah, like retails for like $200 before shipping and stuff. But I don't know. I think for like a hobbyist kind of thing. No, I bought a Defender a long time ago. I honestly have no idea where I got it from or how much it cost, but I think it was something like that. And this is 1/12 scale. It's about a foot long, right? Give or take.
Yeah, it's about a foot long, and it's a short wheelbase model, and I think it's fully functional. And it comes more or less assembled. There's a couple things you got to put together, but looks like a pretty neat thing. And I believe it is officially licensed by Land Rover. So kind of cool. Now, at the other end of the scale, a little more expensive, actually a lot more expensive. For $800, you can get the Boom Racing 109, which also has a metal chassis, working leaf springs, a little bit bigger tires. Looks like it might be a little more capable Land Rover.
And it's 1/10 scale. Yeah. So it's a little bit bigger, a little tiny bit bigger, not appreciably larger, but a little bit.
It's probably,
and of course, it's a 109
inches long, something like that.
So it's 14, 15 inches. Yeah, 14, 15 inches long. And it has, as again, you can switch out to either, this one just has a truck cab or a removed truck cab, just a open top. But the little windshield folds down. You can put the mirrors out on the wings, or you can put them on the doors. It's got a little fairlead hole in the bumper, leading to me believe that, can you get a winch for it? You can get like a tiny little winch.
I think you can. I've seen people outfit them with winches. A lot of people building these up and customizing these and putting, their own stickers and all this stuff on
their own dolls. Put your own
their own dolls. Yeah. Contact Steven if you're interested in outfitting your remote control Defender with a tiny Ike doll.
Yeah, a scale
model doll. If you have dolls of me, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit. This is the last podcast. If it comes out that you have a doll of me, that's it. We're through.
That's the line. Hey, that's where it. Yeah. You draw the line. It has a doll of me. Yeah.
There's nothing good that can come of that. It's either one of those stabby dolls. What do they call those?
Voodoo doll. Yeah,
voodoo doll. You either got a voodoo doll or it's something weird and sexual.
Yeah.
So either way, I'm out.
Or little column A, little column B. Both. It's a little of both. Yeah.
It's also terrifying.
Love-hate thing. Yeah. But no, this is really cool. I mean, and even the little tires and stuff, it kind of almost looks like an Avon kind of tread tire.
They do. Yeah, the Avon traction mileage. It looks.
What's interesting
like
is you open up the hood of the $800 one, and there's absolutely no motor. There's like a big cavity, almost as if.
Is it for extra batteries or something?
I don't know what it's for. It's almost like you could stick a motor or something if you want in there, but it's oddly vacant. No, I mean, like seriously, little tiny drive shafts. It's got little tiny everything. I mean, it's really, really cool. Like
it's pretty
the wheels,
awesome.
Little tiny hubcaps.
I would say that the colors are probably a little closer to Land Rover colors on the Boom Racing one.
Yeah, that's true. And you can get an aftermarket, you can get an accessory kit is probably the right way to put it, that puts a tire on the hood. So you can mount a tire to the hood of the car. It normally comes without the tire on the hood. So you can do that little mod. It's pretty neat, I have to say. So,
I am annoyed that they've got the galvanized trim going all the way around the tailgate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is true.
That is an oversight that I feel like was easy to rectify.
Yeah, you could have just done that correctly.
Yeah, but it's a cool thing. It's a really neat little remote control car. If you don't have space for another Land Rover, which I don't see how that's possible, get tiny ones.
Yeah, just get some tiny ones.
Tiny ones. I'm sure it leaks oil, and you'll have to wrench on it on a fairly consistent basis.
Oh yeah, every time you take an RC car out, you break it. That's just how they are. It's like 100% failure rate when it comes to using them.
100% failure.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered that might be your driving?
Maybe. I don't know. I just feel like, it should be designed to do that. I don't know.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. They just make the whole thing out of rubber.
Make the whole plane out of the black box material. Yeah, it's they're pretty neat. So we'll see. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll reach out to our friends at FMS and at Boom Racing and see if we can't do a little
testing.
Little content.
I think we need to do some real world testing here.
Yeah. I think it's what the it's what the consumers demand, rigorous
our
testing.
Our listeners are demanding this.
Yeah. It's perfect for my 1/10 scale Ike Costal. So
oh my gosh. If I find out that's true.
Tiny little Linus, tiny little Ike, tiny little bib jeans. Oh, that's great. Little overalls.
In other news,
what's happening? Speaking of Linus, what's happening up there at the old Pangolin 4x4?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but your Series 1 short wheelbase wagon is here in the shop taking up space.
I'm aware of that.
And we would be thrilled if you could enjoy it. But before that happens, the checked vinyl upholstery for the rear seating is done.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait.
It's done. So we're going to get that installed and send you some photographs of it. And hopefully you'll be so in love with it that you'll pick it up.
You'll be incentivized to come and retrieve it from you.
It is really cool, though. It is really neat. It's got the checked vinyl door panels, checked vinyl front seats, and it'll have the checked vinyl deluxe rear individual jump seats in the back. So that's really cool. I'm excited that that's coming together. We've also got a Series 3 that's been here at the shop for some time for a pretty thorough restoration, including paint, bodywork, some mechanical stuff, some nice upgrades, soft top conversion, a few other things. And it's in marine blue. And man, it looks like $1 million damn. That thing is...
I love a marine blue car.
It's fresh. Oh man, the galvanizing really contrasts with the marine blue. So that car is done, and it was a little nerve-wracking because the owner wanted to come fly in and do like a weekend trip in the Land Rover over the mountains.
Right.
And then bring it back before shipping it back to his place in Minnesota, which on the one hand, as a person having a car restored, Sounds great, right? Any bugs that need to be worked out or any accessories that you wanted to add, you could do that and have a little bit of time with the car. So from that perspective, is really cool. But to have an owner take a freshly restored car on a maiden voyage of like 500 miles is a little nerve wracking. You're like, I hope there's nothing that, and it went perfectly. The guy had no issues, and he's had it for like 20 years. So he was so excited. I think he might have had it for longer than that. He might have had it for like 30 years. Anyway, he's had it a long time owner, and man, he's so excited. And he said, I've driven this car for decades, and I have never had the amount of attention. People really complimented me on it, which I, of course, called ahead to where he was going and had.
Yeah, it was just Linus in different outfits. He didn't notice
Linus
them, so it was okay.
in different outfits.
Yeah,
he actually had someone that stopped him and was like, "Ike Gossett Pangolin 4x4 must have restored this car. This thing is really nice." And so he was like, "I couldn't believe that the car was recognized as one that you have done." Absolutely. So anyway, he was super happy, and that was really cool to see. And the car did well. There's a couple adjustments we got to make, and then it's back across the country over to Minnesota, and then it's on to the next one. And so the next one that we're in the process of finishing up is a 66 109 3-door, and that car is the Rover dark gray color.
Oh, neat. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And it's going to be like a soft top with rear seating.
Everybody loves the soft top.
Really cool car, and it's turning out really nice. Another one of those colors where the contrast between the galvanizing and the gray is just, man, it looks really good. Really nice. So that one's driving, and just got to finish assembling the body.
That's fantastic. So, and how about the what's going on in the world of saw truck? How's
Linus? I haven't seen the saw truck in several weeks. Linus drove away with it, and he hasn't come back. So he either died in a fiery wreck, or it's everything's perfect and he's enjoying it a lot. Right. I think it's the latter.
Maybe.
Yeah. It might be.
He texted me the other night, and it didn't seem like he was badly burned. So
okay, all right.
The texts were coming in at a fairly regular clip. So
for those listeners that don't know, the saw truck is a 1956 first year 107 station wagon, and it was like a pretty sad shape when we found it. It was inhabited by it had like a whole ecosystem living inside of it. Yeah. It was like there were rats and bats and possums, and they were all eating each other, and there was like, it was crazy.
The circle of life. It was beautiful.
It was a circle of life. It was kind of beautiful, but it was also really gross inside the car. Yeah. And it had a motor in it that I think was seized since like the 70s. It was really bad.
Seized for longer than a lot of people's cars are. Yeah.
And so, we kind of put it back together with a lot of stuff we had laying around the shop, and it drives really nice.
Yeah.
Drives really nice. It's back on the road. It's got a new wiring harness. It's got new tires. It's got a running engine, a good transmission, overdrive, a locker in the rear axle. And we found some really excellent little period details to put on it, and also check vinyl interior.
Oh yeah. That's the best.
Yeah. So we got it all done, and Linus was like, "I'll have this." And so he just drove away with it. Haven't seen it since.
Well, there you go. And any luck on finding the vintage chainsaw that goes with it to have as a prop in the back?
Linus drove it somewhere the other day, and the guy was a chainsaw collector. And he's like, "Oh, I know somebody so-and-so has an IEL Pioneer brand chainsaw."
I would be worried about visiting a chainsaw collector. That
Why?
feels like you're inviting yourself into a horror movie.
You think so?
A little bit. Maybe,
I think the chainsaw collector is somebody that probably is a little more social than the person that has just like one old rusty chainsaw.
Very bloodied, rusty chainsaw. Like,
like this is a person that's probably at minimum, conducting transactions online.
Yeah, you have to buy chainsaw. I guess that's a good point. It's hard to do that when you're wearing someone else's face, so you can't. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Well, I haven't tried.
Yeah,
I haven't tried, but it might go with your doll collection, maybe.
Hey, man, in the Ike and Linus doll collecting trade, you meet some interesting people.
I bet. There's a whole community, online community doing that.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, no. What a disaster.
The Pangolin 4x4 action figure series is pretty.
Oh, no.
I got a little Jason. We got everything. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. No, it's great.
This is bad.
It's great. Tiny little peanut, tiny little 1/6 scale. Oh, it's fantastic. Just adorable.
A 6 scale 4-pound dog.
Yeah, exactly. It's very tiny. It's very, very tiny. Yeah, it's great though. Yeah. Well, we've been, up to all number of things here, but I think the most important thing, the thing that I think a lot of the reason that people listen to the show, the undisputed king of Land Rovers, the G4 edition of Freelander, we have been replacing O2 sensors. So
are you saying that it's not yet on the road?
No, not yet. But we're close. I can feel it. This time.
How long would you say you've been close to on the road with this car?
Maybe close to a year now. But it's been
a year. I think that's an optimistic estimate.
Maybe it is. I mean, I don't know how long it was off the road before. But yeah, anyways, we're close. We did the rear O2 sensors, realized that we got the wrong front O2 sensors, and in calling Atlantic British this morning to get those swapped out, I said, we need the O2 sensors for a 2003 Freelander. And he said, I'm sorry, did you say a 2003 Freelander? Said, yeah, it's a Freelander. Yes, sir. It is. And he's like, wow, that's what I do. I got the stupid
Is there
ones.
Another Land Rover that's possibly joining the fold?
We've got a few. There's a potential. My next topic is we're making room because we've got a few different Land Rovers on the way. We've got some deals in the works.
I'm excited to hear about this.
Very, very exciting Land Rovers.
Excited to hear about this.
We are officially putting up for sale our short wheelbase Series 3.
That's an awesome car.
It's the best steering Series 3 ever.
Anybody's looking for a good Series 3, that's a solid West Coast example.
Yeah, it's in great shape. It's got both a hard top and a soft top. The soft top's going to go back on it. And that'll go. We'll sell that at some point fairly soon because we are close to making a deal on a fantastic little Firefly that is coming in from the East Coast. That's going to be amazing.
We got to drive that across the country.
That would be a lot of fun with the siren on the whole time.
Yeah.
I think so.
How many times do we get pulled over for that?
That's fine. It's fine. I don't think anybody, who are you fooling, But there's much more to come on that as we get closer to sort of closing that deal and getting that thing out here. But that's a very cool one. And then we've got a 101 forward control coming down from the northern part of the state. Our very good friend and listener to the show. Yeah, and a gentleman named Carlos has helped to move the forward control along to us as he'd like to see it running and driving.
Graciously helped you realize your dream of forward control ownership.
It's true. I have always wanted a forward control. And
you will be sitting over the wheels in no time, my friend.
Oh, I can't wait. That one has not moved in a very long time. And so Chris and I are going to go drag it out of the spot that it's in now. And we'll get that back down here to the workshop. We'll get the engine looked over, everything looked at, and then we'll at least get it running and driving again. And then we'll start sort of figuring out what we should do with it. I don't think we're going to do a full sort of nut and bolt restoration on it. It doesn't really make sense. I think instead what we're going to do is a sort of sympathetic put back together and make everything work as it's supposed to, and maybe use it as a little mobile podcast lounge. I think that would be pretty fun.
I love it. Nothing more, that'll be an auditory treat.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be mobile forward control podcast lounge.
As long as we're podcasting while we're driving it. It's just, they're known for how smooth and quiet they are. So
yes,
it's good.
Yes. Now, speaking of automobiles that may be changing hands in the near future,
yes,
we have found quite the gem for our listeners to view.
Let me tell you, if a run-of-the-mill, rust-free Series 3 from California isn't what you're looking for, may I suggest something that is very much not a run-of-the-mill? Our friends over at Broad Arrow Auctions.
Disclaimer: we've never met these people.
No, I have no idea who these
never
people are.
To them.
Could be. I have no. Could be fake. Could be a scam. But a car that we have talked about before. I am sure of it.
Yeah. We have discussed it, but there are new and intriguing photographs of this vehicle that have been posted on the auction site. BroadArrowAuctions.com.
BroadArrowAuctions.com. We'll put those links in the show notes, and you can go check out. It is a bronze green Series 2 that has a number of things, Series 3 parts.
Some non-standard features.
So to say the least, it has some non-standard features. Some, it does subscribe to the new Land Rover philosophy of reductive design, so much so that it has reducted the parking brake. There's no parking
If you
brake.
are interested in dying in a fiery wreck, this might be the vehicle for you.
This could be the car for you. Yeah, it's got everything that you would need to become the victim of an auto accident.
Yes, it has a 360 horsepower V8 engine and leaf springs, and it has some questionable looking brake plumbing.
It does that. Yeah. It has, I mean, again, in the reductive space, they redacted the center cushion, but not backrest, because the center cushion now houses the transfer case lever. Shifter. Yeah, which is too far back, because I guess it's a transfer case lever out of, apparently it's a Defender transfer case and transmission, and so the lever is behind the gear selector.
The estimate for this vehicle, if you're too lazy to look it up, is $140,000 to $170,000.
Yes, $1,000. That's right. You could pay for this what some discriminating buyers have paid for some of the most expensive restorations ever done.
Yeah, you can get like a new Porsche 911 for that, right?
Oh, for sure. You can get a brand new Range Rover. You can get a McGovern Special Range Rover. You can get the McGovern Edition.
You can get a lot of stuff for that.
A serious car. But will that new Porsche 911 have boat speakers screwed into the non-headlinered adorned roof?
It's unlikely that it will. Now, looking at the undercarriage of this car, it appears as if the tie rod ends are, I would say, not threaded into the tie rod.
No, it doesn't look
in
like
a sufficient amount.
No, I mean, there may be
one single thread of engagement.
One thread. That's maybe, if that. I would actually be surprised if there was that. But it does have it has a California assigned VIN number, which is always suspect.
It's always a good sign.
Why doesn't it have its own VIN number? That's a good question. Yeah. But I think I have to say probably the best feature of this car, and there are so many. There are the hood-mounted tire carrier that is painted and missing half of the parts. There is, of course, like we've said, the completely missing parking brake. Not 100% how you safely park this thing on a hill.
Oh, I was just getting to that. That was just that's part of the no brakes package.
Yeah, that's part of the no brakes package. Yeah, exactly. But I think my favorite part, and there's so much to love. My favorite part is the fact that the hood does not close.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. When the vehicle is, it's got its hood or bonnet shut.
Yes.
There is a 3 to 4 inch gap between the fender and the hood.
That's right.
I'm assuming because the engine is not mounted in the location that allows it to close.
It appears that way. It also looks like, for some reason, the slam plate of the radiator, for some reason, is proud of the fenders in a way that it shouldn't be, or the fact that they have the tire dent in that bonnet. And if they had just done a non-tire carrier bonnet, that it might have fit. But anyways, all that aside, the choice was not to just make that right by any number of mechanisms you could have. The choice was, you know what? Just let the hood be open 3 inches. That's fine.
It's gonna
get a little inductive. It's a ram air effect that you'll get when you're hurtling towards a cliff because your brakes don't work and you have no parking brake. You'll get at least get lots of cool air in there.
It's got a lot of holes in the wrong places, a lot of bondos and booger welds, and it's just generally a horrible vehicle that somebody is asking a tremendous amount of money for.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not worth much, but it's certainly not worth anywhere close to that. So, it's got lots of dents and panels that are folded, and all kinds of little marks and things all over. It's a fun look. You definitely, if you haven't had a chance to pop over and see this car, if you didn't see it last time, these are much better photos. I have to say, the photos might be worth the asking price of this car because they're really nicely done. But the car itself, I don't know. Maybe I would continue to look for another car, seeing as you can get a car that is a far more original, far more authentic car for a heck of a lot less money. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of wiring going in strange directions. The wiper motor guards are upside down. There's a lot of bolts in places there shouldn't be bolts. No bolts in places that should have bolts.
Should be bolts, yeah.
Yeah.
Things threaded only to the very bare minimum and maybe sometimes under the minimum, but
if you like scrutinizing pictures of Land Rovers online, it's worth a look.
Well, let me tell you, it's nearly a segment on this show. So why not? Yeah, I have absolutely no problem with an authentic old Land Rover that's falling apart and barely working. What I don't care for is people who have spent a huge amount of time, because this car would have taken a huge amount of time to do.
So it took a long time for this to happen. It's kind of like a transporter accident. If you've ever seen The Fly, it's like two things that shouldn't go together, badly combined. The door jams don't quite meet, and there's a lot There's a lot happening. But if you're going to have close to 400 horsepower in a car, you definitely don't want brakes. So
no, that's right. You don't want a backup braking mechanism in a car. That's
you do not want a parking brake or an emergency brake.
In reverse. That's
just
fine.
slam it in reverse.
That's going to be fine. Yeah. No,
so I've come to a realization that anytime you look at an advertisement for a vehicle, and instead of describing the vehicle and its various merits, it just talks about the history of the brand, you can just be rest assured it's a piece of shit.
That's a great sign that you're getting just a top quality vehicle. Yeah, exactly. When you want to know about, where in Solihull, England these things were made. Yeah, that's important to be buying.
Somebody has copied and pasted that from Wikipedia into the advertisement. Then it's a real turd.
It's a good investment. Solid investment. Speaking of solid investments, we have yet another. Now we're getting low, but we're not out yet. Another fabulous interview from ANARC this past summer. Nice. This one with part-time underpowered hour contributor, almost quasi co-host. Field correspondent Nick Dimbleby, and contributor to the show, audio engineer, and just all around fun person to hang out with, Abigail Hall. And they're talking to us about the G4 Challenge recreation that Liza and Steve Cooper put together. Steve along with some of his compatriots, and Abigail went along with Liza, and they recreated a number of Nick Dimbleby photographs from the actual event. Cool. It's pretty cool because in a couple cases, the march of time progressed, and there's a parking lot where there wasn't a parking lot before, and a number of other things. So it's pretty cool. It's a fun to talk to them, fun to talk to the now vintage Nick Dimbleby after big birthday, big 5-0, and probably too young for her own good, Abigail Hall, and how things have changed over the past 20 years as they traverse the canyons and the highways and byways of both Nevada and up into Utah. So let's get the old interview machine revved up here, and we'll get that tape threaded up. Here we go.
Let's check it out.
All right, we are back again at the amazing ANARC Diamond Jubilee 75th anniversary of Her Majesty's Land Rover with none other than Land Rover legend, underpowered hour unofficial co-host and general man of image and mystery, Mr. Nick Dimbleby. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much. Yeah, good to be on the sofa. Finally, I can sit down.
Right in the lounge. We've really embraced the podcast lounge by only doing this in like a 45-degree inclined position. Which
I wish I brought a lounge suit.
Right? Exactly. You should have.
Get comfortable.
We should have smoking jackets.
Get my comfort device.
Pants are optional.
And we're joined by the next generation, if you will, of Land Rover photographers, show engineer and emotional support person, Liza's very good friend and my life coach, Abigail Hall, who embarked on a recreation of the Land Rover G4 Challenge, the stage that took place, one of them here in the United States. Stage 4, from Las Vegas all the way up to Moab. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to the show, you've heard us talk about it before. We've had Nick on to chat with the team, as well as doing a live stream at the actual launch in Las Vegas. But our focus today is...
This is news to me, by the way.
...is to look at the
You don't normally have a focus. Is that what you're saying?
We don't have any focus at all. Yeah. In fact, everything I've ever shot is slightly out of focus. It's my style.
Yeah, that's why I run the cameras.
That's exactly right. Yes, that's exactly right. I know how they work. I'm just not good at using them. The focus of this episode, though, is to look at these photos that Nick took, that then Liza and Abigail painstakingly recreated.
Attempted to recreate. Not all of them quite worked out,
In the same places, with 4 of the same cars, in, again, a tribute to this incredible event that took place about 20 years ago. So
I couldn't help but notice that Nick wore a G4 shirt.
Right.
There we go. Yep. I've got a G4 shirt on, another G4 shirt. So I haven't seen any of these pictures yet.
This is a first. I'm looking
forward to.
Yeah, this is a first
seeing
first reveal.
Abigail's Irv.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, so let's talk about the event just very quickly, Nick. So 20 years ago, you find yourself here in Las Vegas on the West Coast here in North America, and what was the sort of purpose of that four stage? That was the end of the rally.
Yeah, that was the end of the rally. So that was the fourth of 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So we had been already to New York. So we started in Manhattan, and then we went upstate to the Catskill Mountains, where there were some more competitions, also into Vermont as well. And then from there, we all flew off to South Africa, and then South Africa, which was stage 2, which started in Cape Town. And then we drove along the garden route to a place called Knysna.
Mm-hmm.
And then we flew out of Knysna to Perth in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And then up to the West Coast, where we messed around in the outback for a little bit, and then we flew across to Sydney. So Sydney, there was an off-road course on a barge, which was good fun.
Yeah,
and then,
I've heard that there's not to interrupt, but I've heard that there's a story behind why it was on the barge.
There is, yeah. So one of the reasons why it was on a barge was the Land Rover couldn't get the rights to use the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and of course, to show you're in Sydney, you need to have those iconic locations.
Right.
So the barge was in the harbour basically. So the course took place with Range Rovers on this off-road course that'd been put on the barge. And obviously the barge is moving around, and if you happen to just get the Sydney Opera House or the Sydney Harbour Bridge in the background,
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Are they going to put a big tarp over it or something? Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
So
you got to blur it out.
We accidentally got some pictures of those in the background.
Not intentionally.
That's too bad.
Yeah, not intentionally at all.
Wow.
It was a shame. But there we go. But yeah, so then we all got on the plane and flew to Las Vegas, which, as you can imagine, we were all feeling a little bit tired at that point.
I'm sure.
We'd done quite a lot of running around.
Yeah.
But
no better place to be after that than Las Vegas.
Exactly.
The most relaxing place on earth. Yeah.
So actually the event started. We all the hotel we stayed at, which I think was the same place that you went to, was the Hilton, the Las Vegas Hilton, out in Henderson, in Nevada. But we all felt that obviously you have to get pictures of the cars into the strip. You know, that's part of the start. So we actually took myself and the other two photographers that were on the event, Brent Sturt and Neil Emerson. We went off with a couple of support drivers. We had a Freelander, Range Rover, Defender, Discovery, the four cars obviously that were there. And we drove up and down the strip late at night, which we were all feeling a little bit tired, but it had to be done.
It had to be done.
And then obviously the next day we headed off to the Snow Canyon, I think it was called, which is up near, across the border, isn't it? Into Nevada, into
St. George,
St. George, that's right. Yes, St. George.
Yeah. So, Abigail, you guys, similarly, we actually were all at a sponsor event in Florida, so not quite coming from South Africa, but at a sponsorship event for the rally team down in Florida.
Well, and I had been with you in Florida for like over a week.
Yeah, already. That's right. Yeah, before getting on there.
So you were ready to escape then?
Yeah, I was ready to get out. He made me help with his golf cart.
Yeah, there was lots. Yeah, I have a golf cart there, and
made a pretty good video.
Is that how you get around?
That is, yeah. In Florida,
we did a lot of golf cart modding that weekend.
Yeah, it's a pretty great golf cart. Oh yeah, lifted. Yeah, we've taken the governor off of it now, so it goes
quite fast.
Too fast.
It's got 25s on it.
Yeah, we've got little tiny. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet.
It goes way too fast, and prior to that weekend, it didn't have seatbelts on the back.
Right.
And Stephen had thrown me off.
Fell off once. Yeah, so we had to put some seatbelts on there.
So I insisted we put seatbelts on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard that was on purpose.
So Abigail
probably was.
So she was keen to join Liza for a rest then.
That's exactly right. Yes, and no more rest than spending 6 days in the now. In this case, in a very modern, very luxurious Land Rover, so that's all right. But when I left them, I was handing them a cellophane taped together set of Max Tracks to take as carry-on luggage.
We pulled them off the rally truck and wrapped them up at a gas station and took them on the plane. Like, what do those weigh? Felt like 1 million pounds.
It's very heavy. It was certainly at the capacity of being able to check onto a commercial aircraft. But we have some great photos that we'll post of the Max Tracks transiting across the ramp and sort of going up into the baggage handler into the airplane, which is great. But then you guys arrived at Land Rover of Las Vegas, which was also one of the launch spots for the original.
So we stayed at the original hotel, took some photographs there. May or may not have gotten little bit of trouble with the manager at the time.
Oh, right, yeah, because because the event was very much part. The hotel was obviously welcoming us, and it was a big bunch of people. Yeah. So they had set up vehicles posed on rocks and on these islands. If I remember rightly, there's these islands within the lake. Lake Las Vegas Resort,
something like that. Yeah.
So and obviously I'd sent some pictures across, and then I did hear that
they were less friendly
trying to
us.
recreate it.
They did not the same manager from 20 years ago. Yeah, by any means.
And presumably vehicles don't normally head into the islands.
No, we were just trying to take pictures out front of their water fountain.
Even then,
they weren't. It was all right. We got a lot of good photos of it before they sent us away. But yes, we did start there. One of the members had really wanted to go to the Strip and recreate those photos in the evening as well. Not everybody else was so keen because everybody had just already been driving that day to get there, and everybody was so exhausted that the last thing they wanted to do was drive down to 45 minutes, hour to Vegas and drive around on the Strip. So we did not get to do those photos, unfortunately. And we were actually missing a member as well because they joined us the following day. So we were short one car. So we did not do those photos. However, then the next day we did go to Land Rover Las Vegas, like you were talking about. We all met up there, met up with the owner there. He brought his own cars out. He was ecstatic to be a part of it.
He is the owner of Land Rover Las Vegas is a huge enthusiast. Yeah. He is very much into it. Their club participation out there is huge.
Yeah, he helps a lot with the club, he said.
Yeah, they're a great, really nice.
He sent an email blast out to his entire club telling him we were.
Yeah. Has he got a camel trophy?
He did for a little while. I'm not sure if he still has it, but yeah, they have all kinds of it. They had a 2B forward control that they had actually dressed up as a G4 support vehicle, which of course it never was, but they sold that on, unfortunately, just before this happened. But big enthusiasts there, and great support for folks who really use their modern Land Rovers in a much more off-roady capacity. So, they're a great dealership. Really great dealership.
I don't think they were there, were they? Back in 2003?
I'm not sure it existed. I'm not sure it existed yet, yeah.
Yeah, so from there is when we left.
Right, big moment now, because I'm seeing these photographs
These are some of the photos.
So these are some of the ones that we got in trouble for taking at the... At the...
I can imagine.
Yeah, you can see it.
I can't see the photo, so I'm just picturing it based on this conversation.
They have this driveway that goes up, and there's a roundabout around this water fountain, and then it goes into the. And we had stopped and parked in the middle of the street in front of the water fountain. The valet told us it was fine.
Yeah,
he didn't communicate that to the manager.
And as you know, valets have the final say in that organization. That's how they work. So perfect.
But from Land Rover Las Vegas, we did not head straight to Snow Canyon, but to the gas station, actually.
Right. Yes, to the gas station. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. To fill up all of these vintage Land Rovers with enough fuel to get them on to the next piece. So let's talk, Abs, about the first sort of photo recreation. So you and Liza, obviously driving the Trek Defender, the modern Defender, were very much moving ahead of the convoy to make sure that you were capturing all of these moments, much like Nick has
exactly what we did. Yeah, exactly. We were always trying to run ahead, trying to get ahead to try and stop and find a good spot, because we hadn't recce'd the area. We didn't know anything about we knew where they were going to go, but we didn't know anything. We hadn't looked and planned anything. And of course, again, there was there Google in 2003? I don't think there was there?
Nah,
there was certainly no Street View.
Good question.
No, there was no Street View.
So whereas nowadays we would look at locations and look at the Street View and try and sort of plan in advance, we had none of that.
Yeah.
So we had a few recommendations from the team that had already set up and had done the work to find the locations. But they weren't necessarily photographers, so they weren't necessarily giving us good advice. So we were having to think on our feet. And the best thing, of course, was the vehicle that I had was a G4 Freelander.
That is the best thing. That is the best thing of this about this entire event,
which we unfortunately did not have any of this time around.
But I promise,
where that vehicle is today.
By the next time, the 25th anniversary, Nick has committed to driving it in whatever conditions it's in. I'm happy to accompany him with another Freelander worth of parts to keep it going along the...
Or a golf cart.
Yeah, or a golf cart if that need be.
Yeah, that diesel engine in the back.
Tow it. We may tow it with the golf cart for a short ways if need be, but that's fine. What's about the adventure of it all? And nothing says adventure more than partially working Freelander. But speaking of photos of Land Rovers, one of the first photos that you tried to recreate was this beautiful, and I'm not sure exactly what canyon range or road that is.
This is the entrance to Snow Canyon from the northern side of it, I believe.
Okay.
I'd have to look at a map again.
Right, I mean,
there's two entrances.
It's a pretty place, isn't it?
It's just absolutely gorgeous.
And it was funny because when I helped the guys with the routes, I went through my CDs.
Mm-hmm.
They were literally CDs of photos, no Dropbox link or anything like that. It was all CDs.
Those are flat plastic discs with things on them, Abigail. That's
Thank you.
They spin around in a machine.
It's been a while.
Anyway, so these CDs, and it wasn't even DVDs. It was CDs.
Not yet. No,
so it was 650
megabytes
of pure imagery.
Just now I feel
like one image or half an image.
Exactly. Yeah, like I was
3,000 CDs.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, but so this I had forgotten this image. I hadn't. It's not like I make selections of pictures that I like, and
this didn't make the cut.
Well, I don't know, but I like it. It's not. It's nothing like super special, but it's just a nice. Yeah. The composition is nice. The cars are spaced nicely. It's
the cars are bright orange. The landscape is bright orange, and then it's separated by this field of green.
It's
nice
really
shapes.
Neat.
It's really neat. It is really neat. And so you guys then, Abigail, you took this as a sort of pattern to figure out where you would put yourselves. How did you guys find out where you would sit? Like, how did you guess? Virtual
we just had to drive by.
Nick Dimbleby.
We were like, I had Liza's driving obviously, and I just have this picture on my phone, and we're just driving into the canyon. And we're just like, oh, holy shit, wait a second. And Liza's like freaking the hell out. And
that's probably what we did, the same thing. It was like, oh, it's a really shit thing. Stop.
We drove past it, but we had seen where it was. And so we kind of knew exactly the same pullout that you must have been at, which is still there. And we had figured that out.
And is that what you end up doing, Nick? Is you find you could have to go somewhere where you can put the car safe, because you're driving your Freelander. Yeah, you have to be somewhere tucked out of the way so that they can get through. Or
I mean, it is funny quite how often. I mean, I don't sort of go back and recreate stuff a lot, but sometimes you go to the same location you may have been to before.
Right.
And I always find myself having a little smile, because often, clearly, you try and find the best spot where the angles all hit, but equally, you've got to find a spot where you can pull off safely, and particularly if it's on a road.
Right.
Be out of the way. And...
there's a lens cap I dropped last time I was here. Exactly. I've been looking for that.
Well, funny enough, actually, this is nothing to do with this story, but you might find it amusing. So when I first started doing some motorsport stuff, it was still film, and you would always find a good spot on a new circuit, because that would be where all the film canisters had been chucked by all the other photographers. And it was literally like you have a corner and there was all the tires and everything else, and there was like literally a pile of old film canisters where people had just chucked them.
Chucked them off, yeah.
That's a good spot. That's a good one. It was rated by the number of film canisters. If it was a couple of hundred, you knew you were really good.
You're in the prime spot. Yeah, that's right.
They should really pick them up. That was terrible.
Yeah, it really was. It was a different time. It was a different time.
I was also going to say that there's a lot more people, I think, especially in this park now than there may have been 20 years ago.
Right.
It was a lot busier, and it's not. When we saw that spot, we couldn't immediately pull over. We're going 30 down this road, and we see it. It's on the opposite side of the road, and there's like 30 people behind us trying to also get down the road. And Snow Canyon is incredibly popular for road biking, because this road is the same road pretty much, but it's been recently repaved, and you can just road bike through the whole park.
Right.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. They have a lot of hiking and stuff. So one of the main differences now is that
big car park,
quite large. Yeah, so I had to photograph the cars in a completely.
But I don't think that car park was even there, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
So I had to photograph the cars in a completely different spot than you, because that's behind amazing. Where your cars were, there's this giant.
Wow. Isn't that neat? Look at that,
full of cars.
20 years of difference.
There's progress.
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
The park has gotten so popular.
This beautiful park. Let's just pave it over.
There it is, a little parking lot there off to the side.
Dear.
Going off this is a whole bunch of trails into the park. So I just, they must have a lot more visitors.
Yeah.
And need a lot more space for vehicles, because otherwise you've got people pulled off on the side of the roads.
Wow.
But you can also see that the road is wider now. Sure. This kind of looks almost like.
You've
got less shoulder
nailed
and whatnot,
it in terms of the spot, right? I mean, the spot's absolutely.
Yeah, that's got to be the exact same pull off that you were at.
100%. But I mean, what a difference! Wow. I mean, I wouldn't probably even shoot that now, or I would move a little bit further along so you don't get the car park in.
Which is exactly probably what I just photoshopped them out. So
do you know what?
I just got rid of them.
I was about to say
there's no more cars.
About to say
yes, yeah.
So what I would actually do is I'd get the old clever AI or clone tool or the fill tool, and it would magically disappear.
Abigail is equally as good at Photoshop as she is at shooting the original photos. So it is a superpower that amplifies the ability to recreate these things. It really is interesting, because I think you've got the parking lot, you've got a widened and better paved road. I think that's really a statement on 20 years of progress in these places here in the United States. There seems to be this predisposition that we have here with paving every inch of roadway.
Well, that one was already paved 20 years ago, because that's been a national park for a time.
It looks like that's now a two-way road, whereas I think there it looks like it was
maybe
a one-way.
They definitely have more
1.5 with pull-offs.
Yeah.
Similarly to Arches National Park now, which is so popular, same states, that state park is, or that one's national, but it's so popular that you have to have timed entry.
Right.
You have to pay for a ticket to get in, and if you don't, you simply don't get in. They only let in a set number of people a day because they had so much interest in people going that they have to limit that. So, Utah has a ton of visitors because their state and national parks are so incredible.
Place.
So obviously they're just trying to make room for more people and for more people to hike and bike and whatever. So
great. You had nicer light than we did as well.
I actually was fighting a lot of shadows. You can see, this was the second that the cars were in sunlight because
you had
had these dark clouds coming through. Yeah, you must have had a very cloudy day.
It was very flat.
Very foggy.
Yeah, it was flat. Yeah.
A lot more haze.
And I think also I would process that slightly differently now as well. I'd have I'd get a bit more detail in the background.
Right. Well, and also, would that 20 years ago, would that have been shot on film?
No, so that was digital.
That was digital back then, even back then,
Yeah, we did shoot film as well, though.
Sure.
But I think all the images I dug out were all originated on digital.
All digital ones, yeah.
But they weren't processed. There was no Lightroom.
Right.
Right. And we were shooting raw, but I think there was a Photoshop plugin which was nowhere near as sophisticated as the current
now.
one.
Yeah.
So it was a fairly straight shot. There was no post processing or grading or any of that. So
it's very cool.
Maybe I need to go and dig the originals out and regrade.
Have a bit of a go. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Have Abigail put a parking lot into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. I'll copy mine over. We're just
reverse it in there. Again. We'll do books on tape, back on books again. So it'll be great. So what about, you did one more, is that right, Abs?
Well, the next place that we went and attempted to recreate photos was the coral pink sand dunes. We didn't make it in the same day like you guys would have done, because all your photos were at night, and I was reading your notes mentioning you guys had just barely gotten there, and then you woke up covered in snow.
Exactly, yeah. So we got there just as the sun had gone down, and in fact the shots that I shared with the guys, they were literally, we just took a car out into the dunes, a single car, because we were camping there rather than actually driving in the dunes.
Right.
But again, it was that thing of we can't be in the dunes and not shoot some stuff in the dunes. So but again, it was late, and then there's some shots of the car that got stuck.
Ah, yes.
So, and I believe that Liza carried on the tradition.
She did. Right? There was also an homage to that
that
they recreated painstakingly, and I have to say, very convincingly. It does look like she's stuck. Of course, she would never, far too accomplished of a driver for that. But the level of detail that they were willing to go to make sure that this was an authentic, genuine, recreation, it really is. It's awe-inspiring.
Next level. It's a beautiful spot, isn't it? I mean, we actually went back there for the launch of the Discovery.
Oh, right.
The Discovery, the L462.
Discovery 4.
Discovery 5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, sorry.
Well, it's not called 5, but the
the
Discovery. So I have driven in the coral pink sand dunes, but not on that particular event. And as Abigail said, the next day, completely and utterly covered in snow. So it snowed overnight, and the coral pink sand dunes became the white, fluffy, snowy dunes.
Amazing. And no better surface to drive on than snow-covered sand. Yeah, that's a great...
It just says traction, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really ups the level of traction.
You guys laugh, but I feel like a little bit of
you're probably
moisture,
right. A little crust on top.
Exactly.
It does just give it.
I feel like it does help a little bit.
Anyway, we had an agenda. We had to go, so we literally shot.
We
some
had plenty
stuff.
of time to stop and
so
do whatever we wanted.
You enjoyed the dunes, which was good.
Everybody was very excited to be in the dunes.
But we motored out quick, so there are some shots of the cars that I took back in the day going out of the main track in the snow as the snow's falling.
Sure. Yeah.
But we soon left the snow behind, and then we went onto this highway, which I think was called the $1 million highway. I think it was called.
Okay, yeah.
Because it was made. It sort of cuts across the landscape, and I think at the time it was built, which was probably in the 40s or 50s.
Yeah, I would say so. Probably most likely. Yeah.
It was quite an engineering feat. So we managed to get some convoy shots along that. I guess. Did you go the same route? Did you? I
don't remember them calling anything the $1 million highway, but I think they tried as closely as they could with your notes and what they could find to follow that same track. I do have plenty of convoy shots of the rear end of Rovers.
That's for Abigail's new Instagram account, Rover Butts. So
Rover
just
Butts,
the back of your Land Rover.
This is always something when you're chasing a set of vehicles, because that's the other thing with doing shots is you want ideally to have some sort of control where you can stop them.
Yes.
Get ahead and then get them to drive past. But
we tried to do that as much as we could.
But obviously with the competition, they weren't really doing that.
They didn't want to do that.
They're on the clock. So that was always a challenge. And obviously, as a result, we were taking a lot of pictures of backs of cars,
rover butts,
or you'd be just slightly ahead of them, and then you pull over and you go, does this really work? And they're like, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, but I better make it work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This one was me hanging out the car, and I lost my hat to the wind, because sometimes we would just barely get in front of them, like you're saying, and sometimes we wouldn't even stop. We would just...
It's a beautiful spot when you look at these shots.
The landscape is incredible. Colors, we had just come down off the top of this ridge line, actually, and so just like looking back and everything stacked and just gorgeous. So the next one that we do have that we did actually get to recreate that Stephen was hinting at earlier was at the Moki Dugway.
The Moki Dugway, indeed.
Which we were there at maybe the worst time of day because the sun was behind it and just these dark shadows just blasting. So this one's kind of heavily
sounds like a baseball player.
This is the thing where
Moki Dugway. It does.
This is the thing where, you don't often have a choice of what time you shoot.
No, you didn't. And you just get there when you get there.
And it's frustrating because sometimes you think, well, if I was here a bit later, then we could get a really good shot. But obviously, if you're
you were there clearly and just
we were there at the right time. Yeah. I think that was in the morning,
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was.
And we were definitely there in the afternoon. So this was another one, though, where Liza and I went ahead and tried to find the exact same pullout that you must have been at.
And it is a pullout, I think, again.
It is. This one is a little pullout, and my little cars are in the dark shadows down there.
Yeah, frustrating.
But that is the only other one that we could recreate, kind of like one for one. We were in the exact same spot you must have been standing 20 years prior.
You sort of think to yourself, like 20 years ago, the Nick Dimbleby was standing right where I am now.
So like a couple of Timberland.
There was a plaque. Yeah, there was like some bronze Timberlands on a plaque there, I believe. Yeah, it's
Many of the photos from this day were like very much off-roading.
Yes, so these were. I think this possibly was a private.
I think it was
location.
Down in the White Canyon, maybe.
No, it was beyond Mexican Hat.
So okay.
So you have you get onto the base of the plateau, isn't it? Beyond what's the place called? Valley of the Gods.
Oh yeah, Valley of the Gods. Yeah.
So we didn't go there, unfortunately, which is a shame because that's a stunning place. But then we went on, and there was a competition, one of these hunter points, which was a drive on the first bits of Slick Rock, and that was, I think, it's just beyond Mexican Hat. But I think I've got a feeling it was a private bit of land that they managed to get permission to use.
Mm-hmm.
The only other place, we didn't go off to a lot of the hunters.
Yes,
they were on our notes, but they were like off the main road. And everybody was usually pretty tired and wanted to get to the hotel and get in the hot tub.
Sounds like us.
We didn't do that. We did go find Looking Glass Rock.
Looking Glass Rock. That was fantastic. That's a lovely place.
Back then, them hiking up to it, and I've got this great photo of Steve Cooper.
Yes, our good friend Steve Cooper, one of the owners.
Came up with the idea of this whole thing.
Yeah,
enjoying the rock. It was incredibly windy that day.
Enjoying the rock.
So
he was blown out of there moments later, and it was terrible. Broke both legs.
And then we did end at the
yes,
the lodge that they had the awards ceremony.
The Red Canyons Lodge.
Yep.
Red Cliffs Lodge.
Red Cliffs Lodge. Yeah, back in the day that they would have ended at. But they also, similarly to the other hotel, did not want us parking cars out front of their lodge.
Of course not. Yeah.
So that's just us in the parking lot.
Because Land Rover's done a lot of stuff with them. I would have thought they'd have been
a little more accommodating. Well, you guys weren't Land Rovers, so
maybe, or maybe the owners have changed Rovers, again.
And we were not with the official company. It was just Steve Cooper asking for favors, and they're like, "Who's this guy?"
And no Freelanders, so they were like, "This can't be legitimate.
This is not
legitimate. This isn't legitimate.
Yeah, this is not the real thing." Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. I did have one question: is another photo that was accidentally recreated, and this is a photo that's often recreated of Nick Dimbleby, is standing on top of a Land Rover taking photographs.
Yes,
that is one of on my official set of Nick Dimbleby trading cards. I think I may have you on top of every car. But Abigail also now has joined the photo on top of a Land Rover club. But I wonder if, as Abigail nearly fell off the roof getting up there, I wonder if you have some tips and techniques for scampering
on top of airbag suspension
Land Rovers or any Land.
I mean, airbag suspension Land Rovers clearly put it in access mode to start with. So that's a very important thing to do.
Then you got to wear your harness.
You have to wear your harness.
Then you have to clip in.
Did you risk assess it first?
Yeah, that's right.
No, we certainly did not. Liza was like, "No, just get up there."
One good technique is to put your cameras up first. I always do that.
I had Liza holding them. So
we talked about this on the show. Gosh, I can't remember how many episodes ago, but there is some pictures of people on Land Rovers taking pictures in the 1960 Olympics where Land Rover was a sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they had like 5 vehicles that had photographic platforms on top of them.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And so, having a photographic platform on top of your Land Rover
Steve,
really
could you
helps.
put that on top of your Land Rover?
We'll get that
for
up
me?
there next
Yeah.
time. Well, we do have the official Land Rover new Defender roof rack, which
you're trying to stand on the little
they've said
rails.
not rated for human load.
No, it says that right on top.
Yeah,
I was
that's only on the move.
It's
I thought that was a T-shirt
That's
that you
only on
had.
the move.
right. Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. Not rated for human load. That's exactly right. Yeah.
But another little known fact. The G4 cars, and I'm not sure if it was just ours, but they actually had the slats filled in, so we didn't put our feet through and twist an ankle.
Twist an ankle, go through a sunroof or something.
I was trying not to
right,
dent the roof, but then also, these little rails say, don't stand on me. And I was like, oh, I'm standing here.
Uh-oh. No, it's interesting that, they make a roof rack for the modern car that you're not supposed to stand on. I'm not exactly
sure.
Luggage. Not for luggage. just for good looks. And it does look great. It does look great. Well, that's amazing. So, Nick, you have now, like we said earlier, you committed to doing this if they do a 25-year reenactment, which would be crazy not to.
Well, we got to get those guys in Florida.
I was very keen to do this one.
Yes.
It was only the fact that I'd just come back from
literally came back from Australia.
It was like 4 or 5 days ahead, and I just felt that
just couldn't
my family would be not.
That's right. Fair.
Keen.
That's fair.
And I was torn. I was like, I really want to go, but I will definitely 25.
Can't wait. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have a Freelander working for you without question. And to Abigail's point, I think we'll try to get some more.
We know there's
the
at
cars.
least 2 more Range Rovers in Florida that could potentially come if they wanted to come out that far.
Got to get those
that
cars.
Could be at least 6 of the original Range Rovers.
Yeah,
and then maybe the next thing is to recreate the New York.
Close down 4 blocks of Broadway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm willing to do it. I think
get those crates back out there, get them back on top.
That's it.
Those
crates, the little bobbins, those wooden bobbins.
Yeah, I think absolutely. It's worth it. I think you need it.
Was there a skateboarder in there? I feel like there was a skateboarder.
So there was a skateboarder in
there.
But it was very wet. Do you remember?
I remember seeing that group of photos, but it's been so long since I've seen them. I was like, really going for the street credibility angle on this one. Very urban environment. It was fun.
As we were out there, Nick was supporting us, and he was posting a lot of his photos from back in the day, cheering us on and commenting and watching our stories and stuff. So you can go find some of them on his Instagram, certainly.
And you can see the rest on her Instagram.
There you go.
You can see the brand new ones on my Instagram. I'll keep posting them.
And you're going to create a combine Instagram of just the back ends of Land Rovers. So it's going to be great.
I do already have the account. I got to just post to it.
Could do a flick backwards and forwards as well.
Yeah, that's right.
20 years
we'll
ago.
Just show them next
2 months ago.
Yeah,
yes,
so you can see the side by side of Nick's and then the new one of mine with the car parking.
Well, and I also think if you do make it for 25 years, we recreate photos of Nick as well.
I haven't changed
a bit,
A/B
those.
I haven't changed a bit.
Yeah, no, exactly the same. Look exactly the same. All right. Well, Nick, Abigail, thank you for joining us as always. Nick, not even unofficial co-host, I think now official co-host of the
He's taken
the
over my job.
Yeah,
even when you're not here, they just talk about you all the time.
It's true, we do.
It's great. Well, if we can have sofas like this, then
exactly.
Then let's do it.
This is exactly the job to have. And Abigail, thank you for going. Thank you for taking the photos.
Can I just say she's done an amazing job?
Thank you.
Just I hadn't seen the pictures before today, and just glimpsing over the laptop. I think
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I'm a bit worried, actually, to be honest. Can you let me retire first?
No, Steve makes me work far too much.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't be
worried.
Good.
I'm too busy usually recording podcasts.
That's right. And and of course, thanks to Liza and to Steve Cooper and to the rest of the gang.
Chris
that went
as
out.
well did a lot of the planning.
Yeah. And those folks have been on the show already, talked about their experience. And, thanks to all of you for putting this together. Nick, for your help.
Certainly, without your notes, they wouldn't have been able to attempt to even recreate most of it. So
but again, great that these cars are still going.
It is.
It's a
and they all take very good care of them. They love them very much.
But when they are 20 years old,
yes.
I know that's nothing for some of the series vehicles.
Yes.
But, these are vehicles. They were designed. Modern cars are only designed to have sort of a 10-year life. Really.
Yeah,
that's
right.
That's the standard thing. And here they are, 20 years on, still going well, and obviously a few check engine lights, I think, but nothing
impossible to not. Yeah, I mean, I think my 80-inch would have a check engine light if it even had one. It would be illuminated.
I think it's always a good idea to check your engine.
Yeah, we went on one off-road trail in Moab, and as soon as we were up there, every car, something was going off, except the brand new Defender. Of course,
the new Defender is
every light. Every car had a light.
And I've driven series vehicles where the light starts to glow, the little little red ignition light.
Sure, yeah.
Not one of yours.
To be fair, the generator starts to get a little weak.
That's the way it should be.
Oh,
actually.
is it?
Yeah, so the idle speed on a series car, they tell you to set it at like 750 RPM, which is below the point at which the generator excites. So like you can really turn it down if your engine's in good condition.
Right.
And then that ignition light will very gently glow.
So clearly all the vehicles that I've driven are in really good condition then. Clearly.
Must be.
I'm not saying that's always the case.
They're bright red.
Yeah,
it's not
bright
quite what
red.
it is. Yeah,
but
it's a gentle kind of pulsing. It's very calming.
Zen. It's very zen.
Now, whether they meant to do it or not, that's what they say.
It's
intentional or not. That's the way it's designed in the owner's manual. Now you can set your regulator contacts so it doesn't do that. But
why would you want to do that?
I don't know. Who wants to charge it idle? No one.
No, nobody wants to charge it idle. Turn that thing off. Don't let it sit too long. Yeah, exactly. It's a generator car. Well, again, thank you both for joining us.
It's been always enjoyable to sit on the sofa. And
you're welcome anytime. Abigail, looking very forward to the next photo expose. We'll have to find you some older and less orange cars to practice.
If you do the next set of pictures you do, can I come and recreate those?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, in the next 25 years, you can look at these.
And come back.
I'll go back as like a 75-year-old.
Yeah, it's going to be great. No, and you still look the same, though. Haven't aged today.
In the Freelander as well.
Also, coincidentally, happy birthday to you, Nick.
Not quite, but I almost.
Well, I'm not going to be around for it, so happy birthday.
Where are you going?
Are you passing away? Oh, you're going to be all right.
It's leaving, yeah.
Hopefully.
That's all it is.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
what better way to celebrate the Nick Dimbleby birthday weekend?
Yeah,
not just Land
century.
Rover, but also Nick.
Half century.
You don't look a day past 65, so
absolutely.
It looks great. All right. Well, thanks again. And look forward to everything that's coming up into the future from both of you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
See you on the trail.
See ya.
All right. Well, super cool. I, for one, can't wait for the 25th anniversary running of this so that we can get Nick into the G4 Freelander. So I've got about 4 years to get it working properly. So that might just be enough time.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
We got a pool going here at work.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But it's, for the Series 1, I'm going to drive, I'll drive the Freelander up there and I'll pick up my station wagon and then I'll just drive the station wagon back and just leave the Freelander with you guys. I know Linus has secretly been pining for one for a while. So,
I think he would be sad if you knew, but he would be really happy if you could just give him that car.
Yeah, just give him the Freelander. I think it's fair. I think he's earned it, He's earned it. Speaking of Linus earning it, as you all know, the big contest that we ran last week, the Show Us Your Rover, and hopefully you had an opportunity to do that, to tag us in an Instagram post with your Land Rover. And Linus is hard at work adjudicating the quality of those Land Rover and person photographs. He's
locked himself in a soundproof booth.
Yeah, with all the Instagram posts, and he's come up with, it looks like one of those crime scene investigation shows. He's got a bunch of red string connected between. I'm not sure if he entirely understood what we are asking him to do, but we're going to leave him in there for the weekend and just see what comes out.
We said, here's the brief, and he immediately stripped down to his underpants.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and started with the twine.
Started with the twine.
Yeah, it was just, so anyways. We'll have results on that on the next show. So good luck to everyone who submitted some Rover photos by tagging us in those Rover photos. And until next time, unfortunately, because of all the Linus and Twine talk, we have run out of time for Ike's review of Nando's. But we did get some fantastic photos sent in this past week of the small child giving me middle finger to the person filming him. Happened to be in a Nando's. So that's I guess that's his Nando's review. Maybe not a big fan, not sure. But anyways, we've run out of time for our Nando's review, so we'll have to get to that in a future show. Ike, it has been a pleasure as always. We'll get the Freelander fueled up and head on up there just as soon as we can.
All right, see you later.
The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Barris, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Barris. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.